Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Peter, I'm your friendly Wombat, taking you on a discovery tour of the beautiful island of Rhodes in Greece. Heraclitus said that no man ever steps into the same river twice. The river changes and so does the man. Well, returning to this island after 20 years, I understood pretty much what he meant. The roads were newer, the buildings taller, the infrastructure more modern, yet the essence remained untouched. A warmth that doesn't need translation, a humor older than memory, and a stubborn pride that bends only when absolutely necessary. But I'll be honest, as a child I didn't understand any of these things. As a young man, I was busy being impressed by the wrong things, distracted easily, influenced, making choices I wouldn't make today. Wisdom is funny like that. It never arrives when you want it to, only when you've collected enough mistakes for it to have something to stand on. Identity is complicated enough when you belong to one culture. Being half Greek and half Austrian makes it downright entertaining. It meant inheriting two sets of strengths I didn't always manage to apply. Austrian structure and Greek spontaneity, Central European order and Mediterranean improvisation. Qualities that sound excellent on paper, but in practice, I often managed to choose the less useful combinations. Too structured when flexibility was needed, and too stiff, and then too relaxed where precision mattered, and occasionally I was capable of disappointing both cultures at once. Not to say that I didn't have my moments, quite the contrary. See, contradictions have their benefits. They teach you to see the world from more than just one angle. Then life took me further. Germany became the place where I spent the longest stretch of my adult years. Working, marrying, divorcing, co-raising two wonderful children, trying my best, failing sometimes, adjusting, learning. And somewhere in between, I discovered something unexpected. You don't become wiser by staying in one place, but by standing in many and noticing the differences. Now, that is just one way of becoming wiser, of course. China was one of those places. Shanghai and Hong Kong, nearly 2 years in total. If Greece taught me warmth and Austria taught me structure, China taught me perspective. A place so alive, so electric, so filled with contradictions, more fascinating than frustrating. Some of the most generous, driven, and open-hearted people I've ever lived amongst were there. It was the kind of experience that rearranges a person quietly and from the inside out. These places, these contradictions, these mismatched lessons, they taught me how to understand before judging, and how to observe before reaching a conclusion. And then in 2023, I returned to Greece. Not alone, but with my daughter, who was 14 at the time. Her first time on the island, her first time meeting her Greek family. She fell in love with them instantly. In that effortless way, Greek family welcomes their own, even when never met before. The following year, I came back again, this time with both of my children. Same reaction, same warmth, same sense of connection happening in minutes, not in years. But 2023 had something else waiting for us, which in large part is the reason for this channel's existence. We landed 2 days before the last of the wildfires was finally defeated. The media portrayed chaos, disaster, incompetence, and yes, the situation was serious, but the reality I witnessed was very different from the broadcast narrative. Firefighters fighting with too little equipment and too few hands. Locals organizing themselves without waiting for permission. Restaurants cooking for evacuees. Supermarkets donating food, water, diapers, formula. Families opening their doors to strangers, tourists, sleeping in their spare rooms, empty apartments and living rooms, and not accepting a single cent in return. This is called Filotimo, the Greek spirit of giving not because you must, but because it is unthinkable not to. Yet on television, the loudest voices were the complainers, the drama, the outrage, the absence of nuance. Meanwhile, when my daughter and I boarded our flight, more than 100 passengers simply didn't show up, convinced by the media that the island was burning everywhere, while the reality was very different and the fire had been far away. But I would have done the same thing if my only source was that same media. That was the moment something clicked. I realized how far perception has drifted from the truth. Tourism brings the world to your doorsteps, but it also brings the world's assumptions. People arrive with opinions already pre-installed about work ethic, culture, temperament, hospitality. Opinions often inherited from headlines, hearsay, and an uncle's 2-week vacation. But real places are not stereotypes. Real people are not cliches. And reality is rarely as dramatic or simplistic as the media portrays. Having grown up there, lived abroad, made mistakes, learned, raised children, survived different cultures, and lived through multiple versions of myself, I realized that I was in a rare position. I could translate, I could clarify, I could explain the logic behind customs outsiders misinterpret. I could show the island as it is, not flawless, not fantasy, but real, human, honest. So I started this channel. Not because I am the voice of Greece. I'm hardly Greek anymore after so many years away. Not because I'm perfect or wise. My youth is proof of that. And not because I have all the answers. Nobody does. I started it because I have something I can put into meaningful use. The view from the inside and the outside. A childhood there, an adulthood elsewhere. Successes, mistakes, failures, revelations. Cultures that shaped me and cultures I misunderstood before learning better. A life lived in Greece, Austria, Germany, China. 4 worlds that taught me how differently people can see the same thing, and a desire to bridge that gap, to explain what people misinterpret, to show what is overlooked, to offer fairness where noise has replaced nuance, to remind viewers that stereotypes are rarely the truth, but much more shortcuts for people in a hurry. This island deserves better than assumptions. Its people deserve better than headlines, and travelers deserve more than postcard fantasies or media panic. In the end, this isn't just about tourism. It's about understanding, about bridging the gap between perception and reality, about honoring the people who deserve more recognition than a 20-second news segments will ever give. It's also about my children, their connection to this place, their heritage, their chance to know where part of them comes from, the kindness they experienced, the family they embraced instantly, and the roots they recently discovered. And it's about gratitude for the places that shaped me, the mistakes that taught me, the cultures that confused me, the people who helped me, and the island that welcomed me home even when I barely recognized myself. If I can help even a few people see this place more clearly, its beauty, its flaws, its logic, its heart, then this project is worth everything I put into it. And on a personal note, this is somewhat of a therapy for me. Perspective, as we shall see, is not inherited, it is earned. And in my case, through distance, return, and remembering who I was before life taught me who I am. All the videos coming up next will be informative videos about the island of Rhodes, and sometimes reaching even a bit further. My name is Peter, I'm your friendly Wombat, and I welcome you to this channel.